escaped Juarez with half-baked plans to fly. There was no blueprint, no how-to instructions for this kind of work, just cameras, gliders, and physics. We wanted to capture the glaciers from the air, but at 18,000 feet it's never simple. Maybe our plan was possible, perhaps it was foolish, and on a not-so-long shot, it could have been deadly. Meet the pilot. When I first met AJ Fry on the college quad, he was walking on stilts with his girlfriend, talking about living in cargo nets in the trees and hiking 14,000-foot peaks after eating relatives of the portobello and shiitake. But we needed a crazy for this mission, someone willing to accept a little risk and an unorthodox approach. But on my first flight ever, AJ cratered me into a stone wall next to a burning mattress and a sea of children and dogs. We had aimed for the soccer field, but at the last moment, AJ decided not to interrupt the big Sunday game. So we headed deeper into the hills to hone our skills, flying over small villages as farmers farmed and cows cowed. Afternoon winds kept us grounded, giving us time to appreciate everything that doesn't fly. AJ took to the sound kit, but often got distracted recording the sounds of local skirts in the wind and indigenous Quechua women. We lost ourselves in the rhythm of the grain fields for a couple days, hypnotized by their dance back and forth, beautifully simple compared to the complexities of flight. At night, local families fed us on guinea pigs they had grabbed off the floor some 10 minutes before. We wondered what it would be like to grow up in a house like this, sleeping 10 people and 4 generations deep on the floor of a room smaller than most kitchens. For the next 2 weeks we tried and failed, getting shut down by weather up high, or wind, or tired legs, or bad light, or bad food. But we still had another 6 days, and moved to the remote east side of the range where there was a better chance at a sunrise launch high on the glacier. For the aerial shot to work, we needed a delicate balance of the prevailing wind, early morning light, and a long, low-angle glacier to film if we could make it into the air. In the entirety of the Cordillera Blanca, this was the tiny strip that might work, the east face of Chopicalqui. A week earlier, AJ took his solo speed wing for an unexpected drink, and I knew that a tandem landing in that style would be certain death in the lake below the glacier we aimed for. Ski boots, 38-degree water, swimming strapped to someone else in a sinking web of lines and parachute.
That's good. That's plenty. That's low enough, dude.
Only a year before, AJ had hit the deck, falling from 3,000 feet after a failed acrobatic front flip called a tumble. Both of his reserve chutes got tangled, and he spiraled downwards towards the earth. It was fresh golf course sod that saved his life, managing to bounce his body. He said the last thing he remembered was the individual blade of grass, then lights out. It still left him with 4 broken ribs, 2 broken vertebrae, knocked out teeth, 2 collapsed lungs, and another punctured lung. Here he was, back on the Peruvian horse. We left camp at 3 p.m. in hopes of reaching our launch before sunrise. Maybe a handful of people had approached the mountain from this side, maybe none, but there was no trail either way. By 10 p.m. we reached the Alpine, sucking pasta from the torn-off corner of a Ziploc bag for dinner, and scraping our teeth along the slobbery plastic like an artichoke before passing it to the next person, bite for bite. We crawled into our communal sleeping bag for a couple of hours of upright sleep, wedged between 2 rocks, thinking about how proud our mothers must be of our life's work. By 1:30 a.m. we left our hole, excited for another few miles of crawling over ice-covered boulders, smearing slab rock, and walking under 50-foot seracs. We reached the col as the sun came up over the Amazon to the east. The glacier lit up orange as we clipped out of our crampons and into the paragliding harnesses, waiting for the wind to shift up valley. AJ and I were at the top of a 35-degree slope of glacial snow and ice with a simple task. Commit to the slope and run downhill as fast as you can, in ski boots. And then AJ said run, so I ran. 15 steps later we entered what's called the Raptor, where your chest leads and your body is horizontal, flying 5 feet off the snow at 20 miles per hour before lift. When it goes to DVD, some may blink and others won't even find it that cool. Even more will be grabbing a beer in line at a theater from their fridge, unaware that the shot even exists. But for us, those seconds remind us of a period where we chased something completely unreasonable. And it worked.